Welcome to a tutorial on the bulk data updater for XrmToolBox with me, Jonas Rapp. With this tool you can work with really large datasets in Dynamics 365. You can update the records, you can trigger workflows and plugins, and you can even delete all the records. I'll start with searching for tools related to bulk actions in XrmToolBox. As you can see, there are a lot of tools in there working on both metadata and data. That is, the customizations in the system and the actual information stored there. Before going into the bulk data updater, I will show you a bulk workflow execution tool. First, you select which workflow you want to execute. Then you can select a view from CRM to determine which records to work on. You click the Validate query to see how many records the workflow will be executed on. In this case, 5 records. Then you can just start the workflows and you see the progress of them executing. You can also edit the query manually to filter out just the records you want the workflow to be executed on. Now let's have a look at the bulk data updater. First, you choose how to select the records you want to work with. In this demo, I will get the data from a view in CRM, just like I did with the bulk workflow execution tool. I can now see all the data, just like I would if I looked at it in CRM. Except that in this case I would see all records, not just the 50 or 250 top records. I can also select if I want to work with all records returned or only the records that I select in the view. Now it's time to select which attributes to work with and how to affect them. I can set a specific value, touch the attribute, or clear the value from it. Touching the attribute is very useful to trigger workflows and plugins, since it will only update the value to the same value it already had for each and every record. So to trigger a workflow I just created, I will touch the Create Resource Requirement attribute on the space trip entity. As we all know, space trips aren't very predictable. For demonstration, I will also set the end date of each and every space trip to null. To optimize performance, I check the checkbox only when change is needed. That way, bulk data updater will skip the records that already have the desired value. So I add end date to the list of attributes to update. So it's time to execute the update. I can select the batch size, which means how many updates will the bulk data updater send in each batch to the server. Then I select if we should ignore all errors or stop at the first error occurrence. So let's update the records. This will prompt you with a warning saying that any UI rules will not be enforced. So if you have required fields or any form validation rules, these will not be enforced in this case. After updating all records, I would retrieve them again to see any updated values. Just like in the bulk workflow execution tool, I can edit the query manually. But I can also easily open FetchXML Builder to edit the query there. Now I can easily test the query and edit it to fit my needs. In this case, I was working with a few attributes that were not included in the view. So I will select those attributes, the Create Resource Requirement, end date, and also the start date of each space trip. Done editing, I simply click Return Fetch XML, which will cause bulk data updater to retrieve records using that query. Now I can see the new attributes among the records returned. I will now demonstrate how to set the Create Resource Requirement attribute to Yes for all records. notice that some records are way faster than others. That's because Bulk Data Updater does not update the records that do not need any attribute change. Finally, we'll have a look at the bulk delete feature. But be careful and notice the big red warning. I don't want to delete all my space trips, so I will choose to only delete the ones I select. And since this is only a demo, I will actually only be deleting one of the space trips. And again we see another big bad warning. Make sure you read it before you confirm. Yeah, now we have deleted my bulk of space trips, meaning one of them. I'm Jonas Rapp. I want to thank you very much for watching the XrmToolBox school, and I'll see you next time.